by Daniel article. Is he still here? Maybe I believe. About why I was telling him that I did this for the first time in '98 and it was published in 1999. And when I did it at Seattle Rep about 5 years later, I revised the script because I was learning things about it and I continued to work on it. And the script we're starting with today is yet another script. I've continued the process of adapting it, which has been really enjoyable for me for a couple of reasons. Part of that has to do with the way the world keeps changing. Certainly some of it has to do with my journey as an artist and looking at it and going, oh, I think I can do this a little bit better. There's things that I can fix in here, things that I can make better. But a lot of it also was the world keeps shifting around us and stories are heard differently when the ears of the people listening to them are different. And doing this, it's interesting, everything that Ari says is interesting and engaging to me, yet none of it sits at the center for me of what this story is. And one of the, I think, in the richness of Chaim's writing is a story that is complex and wide enough that it has lots of different entry points through the perspective of fathers, through the perspectives of friendship, through the perspective of crossing boundaries and crossing differences, which is maybe the place where I enter it the most. There's an idea that you will hear as the first line of the play now, although it has never been the first line of the play until this production, that came into it through it's not in the novel, but that came into the play through conversations between Chaim and myself. And it's a line in Hebrew from the Talmud that says, both these and these are the words of the living God. And it's an idea in Talmud that says more than one thing can be true at a time, and that sometimes things can be very, very hard to reconcile, and perhaps feel like they're impossible to reconcile, but we have to find ways to reconcile them, and or to live with the differences, or to live with the brokenness of it, or to find some ways to come together, which somehow for me feels in Washington, D.C., particularly at this moment. Maybe DC always feels that way, but I know just sort of, I've only recently moved here myself, and sort of being here now and looking around and feeling if there is an important thing to have out in the world, it is something for me right now about crossing boundaries, crossing bridges, understanding other perspectives. It seems like a really worthwhile thing to put out into the world. Although I certainly love the fact that for student groups who come, I've always said, watching a play that has rebellious kids in it, and the rebellion consists primarily of sneaking off to the library and reading whatever by God they want to read, which maybe is a slightly different tone than some rebellions that happen with young people now. I think that just the idea that can be a radical act, that can be a rebellion, is a worthwhile energy to put out into the world as well. I'm thrilled about all the things about having, I owe a lot to Ari. The Chosen has had about 50 productions around the country over the last 10 years. I think Theater J was the first production. It started as a co-production between the Art and Theater Company in Philadelphia and City Theater in Pittsburgh. I think Theater J's was the first regional production. And then the rumor has it, at least, that Ari got up at a conference shortly after having done of the Jewish theaters in America and said, by the way, everybody should do The Chosen. It's very good and it will do very well for you. And the following year, I had about 9 different productions of The Chosen at small Jewish theaters around the country, and then larger productions, and it's continued on and on. So thank you. And it's sort of wonderful to be, in my first year living in DC, to be back here, to be here working with Theater J and with this really exceptional cast and design. So, some that are brand new to me, some are long-term collaborators. So I'm just thrilled to be here and to be part of all of this.